It's another CEO Synergy Day. We're going to talk about some money. Yay. We're going to talk about some fun things that are happening. Let me make sure I go live also inside of Instagram. And I'm super excited because I have a guest, another CEO sister that is going to join me today. Another one of my amazing CEO sister clients who is called The Financial Lady. She's going to be having some conversations with me. And one of the reasons why, and as you guys are popping in, say hi, because your hi does matter. Let me know what part of the world you are joining us from so I can shout out your hood. I'm coming in from Brooklyn, New York. I was all over today. I was in the city. I went to Manhattan today. Then I went into Long Island today. So I think I covered three of our areas. I won't say because Long Island's not really considered a borough. So, but it's one of the areas. Manhattan's a borough, but not Long Island. So we went over. I went over there just to do some a conversation with some other CEOs for a interview on a panel that's going to be featured in a Long Island local channel. So I'm super excited about that for Women's Empowerment Month. And it felt good just spending some time around other CEOs. It was funny how the interviewer at first, she was kind of nervous because she was like, I'm not really sure how this is going to go. But I told her, when you get a lot of business people together, when you get CEOs together, we can talk. Like, we can talk about our business. We can talk. We love talking about our business. That's the one thing we can talk about is our business, about what's going on, about the things we've learned from it, our lessons, the things that we want to share with people, our strengths, our areas of weaknesses. These are things where we need help in. So these are things that we could talk. So we just kept going and going and going. And I felt so sorry for the host because she was just like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. It's a lot. But we are a lot, right? We are a lot. When we get ourselves together, it's I think it's a blast. That's why I absolutely love getting CEOs together and just having conversations because we don't need to be teed up. I tell people, I'm like, we don't need to be teed up unless, folks don't manage time. That part we got to work on. But other than that, we don't need to tee up. Let me see who's out here. Shout out. Let's see. Detroit is in the house. Let's see who. I want to see which one of our areas are going to be the mass area. I got Detroit's in the house. Got Dawn. Hey, Dawn. I see you popping in. Philadelphia is in the house. Shout out Philadelphia. All right. We got Houston, Texas is in the house. All right. I see y'all, Texas. Texas. All right. Got Orion. Orion. I keep saying, I know I jacked that thing is Orion. Can you write out how it's supposed to Orion? I was just there too. All right. Is that's still Michigan? Michigan's in the house. And it is great to see you. Just tell me who you are, because as of now, all I see is Facebook users. Tell me who you are. But let's bring in Bridget, because we're gonna just start this flow right. We're gonna start the conversation right. Oh, Dr. Tanya ATL is in the house. So I'm super, super excited to talk money. Right. Anytime I get a chance to have conversations with us, right? With us and with us CEOs, with us African Americans, with us women, with us out here just trying to figure out the gist of being a CEO and still navigating the space of our money. Like, I want us to have real conversations. I want us to feel so comfortable talking about the good, bad, and the ugly that in one of our conversations, I was having a coaching session with Bridget. Literally, we were just talking and she was sharing some things that she was sharing with her community. And I was like, wait a minute, pause. Let me bring you in for CEO Synergy chat so you can share this with the rest of the community. Because I don't know about you, but I think finance and money needs to be a normal, everyday conversation inside of houses, just like how we speak spirituality and God, just like how, which is always prime for me. I'm not trumping anything. Just like how we speak about, what's the flow of the day for the family and lifestyles, we should also be speaking about finances and speaking about things, multiple streams of revenue, which is going to be one of our conversations we're going to talk about today. Is something where I want Zachary to feel very comfortable with. So we always have little conversations. The thing about Zachary is that he's still a little sketchy. He's up and down with his money counting. But the dude know how to pull out his phone and put in the numbers if he need to. And that's what I had to help him, because for those who don't know, Zachary's on the autism spectrum, has areas that he thoroughly excels in, and then he has areas of weaknesses. And money, he loves money, because every morning or every few days he'll ask me for money, and he saves really well. I found his little wallet. his real wallet. He got a wallet he used for every day, which is a baby wallet. And then he got a real wallet. I found the real wallet and I saw dollars upon dollars. I was like, where is this boy going with all these 20s and all that stuff? So he's been saving over the time. And I think that's super, super great. He has a bank account. So we speak about that. I'm going to talk to him about putting some of that cash into his bank account. But one of the reasons that I really want to have Bridget in tonight is just so that we can just talk money, natural conversations about money. And then one of the main topics that I really want to focus on, and the reason why I chose this topic was because of last week when Facebook went out, Bookface, when the social media aspect went out, and I spoke about the importance of diversification. Diversification is something that I learned super earlier in the game from since I was in my earlier 20s when I started working. I learned not from my parents, but I learned from another coworker who literally sat down and say, sis, you gotta be smart with the money you're making. So here I am, 22, just got out of college. Well, I think it was about 23, 24. Just got out of college, now starting in a serious, real gig. Janelle, yes, it is good to see you. Good. Welcome back. I love seeing my peoples. And here I am, now getting into the real space with real money, but not knowing the different aspects of how to really utilize our money. And having someone that sat down next to me, and I thank her to today, because if I didn't have her then, Bridget, if I didn't have her sharing with me, mutual funds and making sure I put my money into my retirement fund and making sure that I'm putting some away for savings and making sure that I had started a little bit something in the Roth IRA and all these things that I've never heard before. And making sure I put some money from when I had Zachary. Like, these are just little things that time I didn't realize was such a big deal. But now I'm looking back, I'm like, thank you, God, that I had access to that information, that multiple streams of revenue. Yes, it counts for business, but I also want us to look at it for our lifestyle. So that's why I brought in Bridget, who's going to, we're just going to have that natural conversation. When was the first time, how was money being handled in your house, Bridget? Like tell us a little bit about that as you were growing up. Was it something that was spoken about or anything at all?
My dad was the saver. Mm-hmm. I guess the biggest thing my dad would tell me is like, you need to save, but you need to have multiple streams of income. He said, never rely on one. He browbeat that into me.
Yep.
So he was big on that. Yes, he was a welder by trade, by the day, but he sold barbecue. He did whatever. He could build stuff. He was very talented with his hands. So he would use his talent to make money on the side. So he constantly, that was probably the biggest thing. And so when I started working, that was probably, I always had money over here. He said, because if something go down, they're not going to tell you. He said, so you need to make sure you have another source of income coming in. He didn't know anything about investing. That just wasn't, that generation. He just didn't. My mom did not have a conversation with money. She told me how to balance a checkbook.
Checkbook, yep.
But that was about it. She was the spender. She had a stack of credit cards and just charge. She really money was never enough for her. Like, she can have her money, my dad's money, her little side money, and it still was never enough.
So how many of you guys out there were brought up in a household where either you saw one parent that was working multiple spaces, that was bringing in money here, had a job, but it was also the butcher, baker, and the candlestick maker? That was me. My mom always had like 2 jobs. She would work for the government in Guyana, but yet my mother would drive taxi. I've seen my mother drive taxi. I've seen my mother sell Mary Kay at the corner on Flatbush and Avenue H, like for Mother's Day. I see my mother put up a table and just sew. And I've been in a space where my mom worked during the weekdays, and on the weekend she had a weekend job. And from when I was from college days, as soon as I got permission to have a job, I'm an A-mom, what you want me to say? I got Caribbean background. I've always had at least 2 jobs. I had a weekday job and I had a weekend job. My weekend job was always fun. Like, that's the one part. At least I had my weekend job be fun. I was taking care of disabled, the differentially abled, or people who were disabled at that time. And I was a residence facility, but I used there for recreation. So I would come in on the weekend and be taking them out for trips and all that kind of stuff, because I like to have fun. So it was always then from then. And that space, but I also saw, and I'm just being fully transparent, I also saw my mom spend. I saw her save, because we sat down, we spoke about a lot of what she have now, including property and things that she wasn't sure what she was doing, but she could look back and say, daggone it, I've done a lot. I've owned 3-4 different types of property now, when I was just guesstimating of what to do. She didn't have anyone teaching her. She just knew that she had to work, she had to provide, and it was all on her. So I saw her spend a lot, but I didn't also realize that she was also investing in things like properties or buying things at the time when she was a single woman, single mom. What are some of the things that you saw your family did that today you're like, oh wait, weird enough, I still do that? Like what are some of the things you saw your mom did, or you do or your father did, sorry, that somehow you still see that you still kept that going?
My dad hands down the multiple sources of income.
Mm-hmm.
I even within my business, just looking at, okay, I do one thing, can I add something else? So if somebody needs me for this, then they can come to me for this. I never just wanted one aspect of my business. So even to this day, even when I was in college and I worked a full-time job, taking 4 classes for 12 hours full time, and on the weekends I would work. This black lady owned a foster care home. And so from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., I was pretty much, I feel like, a glorified babysitter. But we were there to help her with the girls that she would bring into her facility. That was one of my sides. So even though I was working at Dillard's, I always had that in me. Always, until this day, it's still like that with me.
Yep.
It's still like constantly learning. My dad, he even though he didn't know how to read, he was good with math and science. Really good with math and science, but didn't know how to read. But you never would have seen that. Like, only way you knew that unless he told you. But that has always been in my mind, making sure that I'm doing something, that I know something. I'm constantly reading. He was big about me reading to him when I was younger, didn't know it. But reading, I still read like that today, because he would make me when I was younger.
So what made you think of getting into like that financial space? Like, did you have something that happened in your life, or like, were you just great with money? Like, how did you decide to do the financial?
I know I wanted to always work for myself, right? So I said, well, I'm gonna do taxes. And I was like, okay, if I do taxes, well, it's only a certain time of the year. So what I'm gonna do the rest of the time? So somebody suggested I get my insurance license. They said, I think that would be a great addition. You'll be able to help people. I was like, okay. So fell in love with it. Got my license, fell in love with it. And I took a Dave Ramsey class at a church with my girlfriend to learn more about financial literacy. Because I'm still thinking, how can I add to my business? What can I be doing? And so that turned into my weakness. Could not stand math in school. Well, math and money, two different things, if you're doing algebra and all that stuff. And so started taking these classes, and I said, oh, well, we need to know about this. It started changing my life. Because like you said, Dr. Ellis, some things I wasn't taught growing up. My parents didn't talk about IRAs and 401ks and none of that. It would just work. You just gotta work.
Yep.
You better work. That's what it was. So I know that. So it morphed into the financial lady. Like when I look back at like how it started, my degrees are not in finance. It didn't. I have a BA and an MBA. It's not. It was like, I really wanted to help people. That kind of goes back to what my dad said when I was a little girl. He said, what do you want to do when you grow up? And he said, I told him, I just want to help people.
Yeah.
And so that's what I do. So even though it's through money, I love what I do. I love helping primarily women get the money, because when I see it at the end of it, it's sad. When I see somebody at 62 years old and wants to retire and all they have is $20,000.
Yeah.
At 62.
And if we only knew.
Only if she would have known.
Yeah.
A third of what, like, she wouldn't be here. she
Real
wouldn't be
talk.
here.
Real.
So yeah, that's what makes me do what I do, because it started, and then I would say also it's God led. A lot of this wasn't me. I didn't plan that I was going to be the financial lady. I mean, he said, okay, you say you want to help my people, so this is how we're going to do it.
All the things. I mean, a lot of people are popping in the chat, you know, there are different types of jobs and how they've had many jobs at all one time. So then this is the shift that I wanted to speak about. And Bridget's mentioning it, right? We learn from our family, we learn from our parents, the multiple streams of revenue at times of working, right? So we work one job, we work two jobs, we work three jobs. Sometimes we work in four jobs. And I put in the chat, what were the most amount, what was the most, I don't know if it was or were, I might have used the wrong one. Like, I always get confused with that. But what were the most amount of jobs that you had at one time? And I want people to put that in the chat. And there was a point in time where I was literally working from sun up to sundown, and I wasn't sleeping much because I loved money and I wanted to just be in the fold of making it. And I was young until I sat with someone that began to speak about having your money work for you and learning how to be smart about your money, about the money that you are making, so that you can put it aside and pretend it doesn't exist, so that later on in life it will have more value. And one of the things that, and I really wanted us to have this conversation today, because a lot of people seem to feel like it's too late. And it's never too late. It is never, 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 never. I want you to type that in the chat. It is never too late to put aside $5 here, to put aside $10 here, to put aside $10 in stocks, to put aside $5 into an IRA, to put aside something into insurance. Like, make sure that we are taking our time out to be diligent, because no matter what now is, whether you're 5 years, 10 years in, 15, 20, because people are living longer, we are living longer. We want to be able to say back that, wow, that $5 a day or $5 a week is now at least $5,000 or $50,000 or $25,000, because I took some time within what I had to even just create something just for that, because that's important to think about the beyond now. And I'm not saying do all of it, like, because you got to live now. There's ways of doing it, and there's definitely, you know, different books and profit first and all these things of how to do it. But my conversation is, what can we start to do now that we don't feel completely lost in this sauce? What are some of the things that you've been talking to about your clients? I know, and there's many different ways, but just what are, like, at least the top thing that you think a person can do now, even at the age of 30s or in their 40s, and for some of us possibly in their 50s?
So the biggest thing right now, so look at you in your 30s, right? You can do, depend on your health, because you can go through insurance where you can put some money away, don't pay taxes on it. You can do an IUL. Mm-hmm. That's something you can easily do. A Roth IRA is always great. Why? Because it's after tax money. It's after tax. In 2024, you can put back $7,000. If you're over the age of 50, you can put back $8,000 a year. So that's after taxes. And when Dr. Ali spoke about diversification, you want to diversify. You don't want to have all your money in a bucket where when you get older, now you got to pay taxes, because they make you take a required minimum distribution, RMD. They make you take it. So if you put all your money in a taxable bucket, as you get older, they're going to say, no, you're going to have to take it at your tax rate of what your income tax rate is. So it's some things you want to put money in a Roth IRA. Why? Because you've already paid taxes on that money, so you can just dump money in there. Another good way to start putting money back for a charity. That helps lower your tax bracket. You always be want to doing things when you're dealing with money to lower your tax bracket. So I know we probably got quite a few business owners here, right? So as far as our business owners, you can do something called a simple. A simple allows you to put back $16,000 a year. That's a write-off. That can lower your tax bill. If you're high income earners, you're making over 150 plus, you got to lower the tax bill. So it's some accounts. There are many accounts you can set up that can help lower your tax bill for one, putting money back for retirement or whatever when life happens account, and you can be ready for it. It is not too late. They know it's not too late, because every year they change it. If you're over the age of 50, they increase it. They allow you to put back more so you can catch up.
I love it. I think it's just knowing that there's many options, and we're just naturally talking. This is not financial advice. I mean, this is this conversation. If you need to have a conversation specifically about your situation, and you can set up the talk with Bridget, or she can refer you to who she thinks is best for you. This is just two chicks just talking money, right? And she has a little bit more insight based on what she's done and how she's doing it. I just want to make sure I lead with that. This is just us making sure that we're more aware of things that we can be doing. And a lot of you guys see from my outside, and I want to sometimes bring you more into the inside, why I'm not always pressed. A lot of people ask me why I didn't leave my job at a certain time, why I haven't, like I have a weird way about the way I move in my life. I let God lead, not people. I could care less what anybody think about what I should or should not be doing. What I do know is that God puts me in certain positions to serve, and he puts me in certain positions to make sure that there is revenue coming in and that I'm being responsible with what's coming in so that I could lead in a business and lead in my household at the same time, my choices, right? A lot. And then the purchase of the home in Aruba, I shared some behind the scenes with my tribe, what my thought process was behind it. Some folks try to choose to buy land in America. I had some with my mom, and then I just choose that I don't like the way the flow is going in the world. And if I choose to retire, I'm always thinking 10 to 15 years from now, right? And if not me, then Zachary. So I'm always thinking, I love what I do now. I'm consistently helping my clients with developing legacy. So that's why I don't believe in quick stop shop businesses. I believe in creating things that can sustain over time and build over time and doing things that we enjoy. But I also think that we should also be diversifying our energy in terms of what we're doing. Energy, I call money. You guys know I call that money. So diversifying the things that we're doing so that we could be responsible in that areas. I love the fact that when I get on calls with my wonder twin Dawn, that sometimes we just be talking and we just end up talking about stocks, which I love having people that I can talk about different aspects. We talk business sometimes, and sometimes we just go into stocks, which was a whole new world that we knew nothing about. And then we just started helping ourselves and learning and teaching ourselves what to do. My ex-husband, he helped me get into the game earlier. So thankfully for that, I got into Apple before Apple became Apple. And then a lot of good things have happened as a result to being obedient, right? And it was just few dollars. Everything for me has always been micro steps. Nothing, including the degree who I am today, is from macro steps. It's from baby steps. It just adds up over time. I look young, right? But this is 20 something years of putting in that baby step. So you also have something, and if you guys have any questions, please ask, especially when it comes to multiple streams of revenue, how you're doing with your business. We can focus on that a little bit more. But tonight, literally, it was just making sure that you're aware that there are multiple streams, that we don't want to just focus on one. We do want to focus on the one that does bring in the most so we can sustain the rest. We also want to focus on the one that can grow to the capacity of where we have a plan to take it. And we spoke about the wheel. We spoke about so many different aspects of how we can do revenue, and we'll talk about that a little further. One of the things I really wanted to leap in, because I want to honor our time, and once we talk money, I literally can talk here forever. But that hour hit me, and that hour changing the clock. I'm like, y'all see, I got my pajamas in already. Last thing to do is wash face, pull out this ponytail, and go to bed. So like, last thing is what's gonna happen. But I do know that Bridget has a gift for us. And one of the things that I love that Bridget does is Bridget speaks about getting prepared, right? Being more prepared. And that's what this conversation is. How can we be more prepared for later on? How can we be more prepared for our loved ones? How can we be more prepared? What type of gift did you bring for them? Let them know, because I love gifts. Somebody type out, we love gifts.
So my gift to you tonight is the letter of instructions. So as we know, life happens, right? And life is going to happen. But I want you to be organized and be prepared, right, when life happens. And that's probably the biggest thing that I can take away. And if I have a moment, I will share a little testimony. 2 years ago, actually 2 years ago, it'll be 2 years in May, my husband diagnosed with cancer. A month later, I got laid off from my job. I had the business doing that part-time. And so I was upset, but then I got, real fast. I was cool. He had surgery. He got COVID. Like, of all the things could happen, it happened, right? The only thing that gave me a peace of mind is that I had things together. I had the medical power of attorney, financial power of attorney. Was the will done? Yes. We had insurance. We had cancer insurance. So if I got diagnosed with cancer, it pays out a lump sum. I had hospital insurance. I had everything organized. So I can be there to support him because he needed me. I didn't have to worry about how is this going to get paid? How is this going to work? I utilized the resources around me, found a resource that was paying my mortgage because of COVID and the things that were going on 2 years ago. I was asking questions and talking to the right people and not feeling afraid or not. I don't want people in my business to let them know what's going on with me. I asked all the questions and I was willing to be obedient and vulnerable and let people know, hey, this is what's going on. Because if I did not do that, no, my mortgage got it paid for a whole year. Because there were programs out there like that during that time. And all because I was asking questions. So, and being prepared, that gave me a peace of mind. He didn't have to worry about anything about the house and how things are going to be taken care of. That's a wonderful feeling. I had the privilege of being a part of Dr. Joy's about an hour or so ago, being a part of her class. And that was one thing she talked about tonight, is that taking care of you first. In your financial life, in your personal life, take care of you first. If you do not have a will, if you do not have medical power of attorney, financial power of attorney, that's what I'm gifting you today. It's a letter of instruction to say, hey, if something happens to me, this is my accountant, this is my financial advisor, this is my insurance person, this is where my will is located, this is where my medical power of attorney is located, these are all my IRAs and 401ks and all the accounts. Because something happens to you, say you have small children, what goes on? Who knows where all your stuff is? If you know it, that's great. But if you're not here, passed away, got sick, hurt, who can help you?
I love that, Joy.
So you need that. Put on your financial mask. I love it first and have you together. I'm telling you, because I had that. The first thing my therapist, when my husband got diagnosed with cancer, I went to go see him. He said, the first question he asked me, he said, is there a financial problem? That was the first question he asked me. I said, no. And I told him exactly what I just told you. He said, perfect. How can I help you right now? Because he knows that the financial life is crazy. And we got illness on top of that and sickness and all this other stuff. And that was one thing I could truly say at that time. And literally being disciplined and obedient. Joy, you're going to love this one. When I have to talk to my clients and tell them to do this, I had to do it first. I can't be telling them I need you to do it. I don't have it together. Now, sometimes, yeah, we're going to fake it until we make it. But you're going to have to eventually start, drinking your Kool-Aid and getting you together and doing things. But that's what I did. And that was a time where I was being obedient. During the time I wasn't making money and talking to people, but I had an idea in my head and I said, okay, I'm going to put it on paper and I'm going to have it set up. But I was being obedient and doing it. So it paid off. And when people come to me, I'm like, no, do it this way. You can have it set up this way. I have folders right now, 3 folders. One that have all the policies, one that has birth certificates, marriage certificates, passport. It has binders for everything. Everything is organized. So your letter of instruction is that. It's making sure that when life happens, and then look, it's fillable. So you can change it. If things happen, you can go in, erase it, change it, print out, make a new copy of it, print it out, make sure you sign and date it, because you know that it's yours. If you're married, do one for each of you. If you have parents that you're caring for, or a loved one that you're caring for, or a grandmother, whomever, you have one for them. Because you taking care of you, how can you take care of somebody else if you're not taking care of you? So take care of you first, participate in your own rescue, then you go and help someone else. But I love it because it's so straightforward. It's easy to understand, and it gives people direction and instructions on what to do. In the event you pass away, got sick, hurt, they know where to go.
I love
So
it.
it's a
I love
peace of
it.
mind on paper.
I love it. I love it. And what we did is we posted, it's a PDF because she didn't put it as a lead magnet yet, but we working on that. So we got a PDF that we posted inside of our Synergy Sales Summit group. It's still our Legacy Builders group that got changed to Synergy Summit. We got 30 days of when we got to use that name. So you got one more week. So head over to joindrally.com and you'll see the uploaded PDF. Definitely, Bridget, how can they stay in touch with you? I love it because it's one place to get organized. It's to let you know some of the things that you can start to do now to be ready, not get ready, but be ready ahead of time. It's a letter of instruction. It helps you to get some documents together, your assets, your insurance policies, whatever plans you have. It just gives information. And the funniest part, not really funny, your credit card, your home mortgage, your check-ins account. Like literally yesterday, I was just talking to my mom when she was over here, and we were just talking about, wait a minute, I don't have pins to all her stuff. So we sat down during the time we were putting together the information she has in my house that we need to make copies of, and we just literally started sharing. But not only her with me, but me with her. So I had to share my pins to my business account, my share to my credit card, my checking account, share. Then we spoke about just getting a card that we both can have for each other, just so we can navigate if we need to have access, if anything is to happen. So the scary thing is that we don't want anything to happen for us to then say, dang, I shoulda, coulda. Right? We want to literally sit down and spend some time and see, okay, what are some of the things that we can do now? We don't got to do the whole thing. Like I said, I gave the access inside of our CEO group, Legacy Builders. But right now it's called Synergy Sales. But if you just go to joindrally.com, you'll have access inside of that group, and you'll get the PDF of what Bridget gave. Bridget, you could also drop your access if they need to speak to you, if they have any questions. Put the link in the chat so that they can have access to it. And just know that these are just more conversations we need to have. And I wanted to make sure that we didn't get everything done, but I want to make sure that every once in a while, I'm going to just keep tapping into finance aspect. We do it inside of our businesses. I always speak about KPIs, and I speak about making sure that we're checking out our numbers, looking at our expenses, looking at our revenue, what's coming in, looking at how we can, shift things, reduce our expenses, increase our revenue, create more profit, see other streams of revenue that we could bring in that feels at ease with our lives, because what may work for one may not work necessarily for another. And then also making sure that we take some time out for ourselves, putting on our personal mask, our financial mask. So people ask me, well, how am I able to do all the things? You don't have to do all the things. That's the thing. You don't have to do all the things, but you do have to do some of the things, right? Let me see if I can pull this link up. You don't have to do all the things, but you do have to do some of the things. And that's what I want us to just see. If you can take a look at it, or if you could just from our conversation today and see like, okay, Dr. Ali, I can't do all of the things, but I definitely can do this thing, then that's what you can get involved in. 1 second, I'm just creating a banner with the link that she put up, so you guys have access if you need to. 1 second, add banner, and then show, and then I'm gonna just put it in the comments section so you guys have access to it. And then I'll come back in and see if I can grab it, because for some reason it's not letting me post. Can you post it in the comments chat? It's only sending it to YouTube for me. So I'm gonna have
every time I tried to do it, it kept saying this comment has failed.
Yeah, I think that's what social media is doing. So I'll come back in a few minutes, and I'll just drop it inside for you guys, where you guys will have access. I got you. Don't worry. I'll do it before I wash my face and pull out the ponytail. Make sure you guys have the link and the access to it.
And I'll put my website too, so people. because I
Perfect.
have a lot of free resources there too. But
Yes,
when you said, Dr. Ellis, if you don't mind me,
absolutely.
you said that, don't feel overwhelmed, like, oh God, that's a lot for me to do, right? So I did look, I'm gonna give you one of Dr. Joy's my favorite challenge. I'm doing it right now so I can finish this second card deck. Every day, take 15 to 30 minutes and work on it. 15 to 30 minutes. We feel like we need to take 15 to 30 minutes and say, I am going to pull out all these pieces of paper, whatever. Like, take 15 to 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And over time, you'd be like, oh, okay, in a week's time, oh, I got all this done. All you did was 15 to 30 minutes.
And that's it. That's
it.
That's my flow with everything. And I tell, we speak about it in the tribe. I feel that way about business. I feel that way about making sure our health. I feel that way about meditation and self-care. 15, 20 minutes. That's all you need. Get up in the morning, 15, 20 minutes of meditation. Exercise, movement. You don't have much time, 15, 30 minutes. It's better than nothing. Get that. Diageo speaks about that all the time. Get 15, 30 minutes of some sort of movement. If you take finance is a big thing. 15, 30 minutes. So what are the things that you need to work on in your finance? Are you working on this financial plan? Are you working on, getting your list together of things you need to do? And then also, what else can you just put aside a little time for? Like, just really, it's okay. And when you don't, it's all right. Like, don't penalize yourself or give yourself grace. But just pop back in the next day and just allot yourself. And y'all know my handy dandy thing is the alarm. Set a schedule. I live by this, right? So I'm in the interview tonight. I went to the place I told you after 3 something, 4 o'clock. We were at the little round table, and I turned off my phone because I know between 4 and 8, my calendars go off like crazy because every 30 minutes I have something planned because that's usually the time I'm working in different aspects of my business. So use whatever you can use to help you to stay focused and to get some stuff done so that you are on, like Joy said, putting that financial mask on first. Bridget, anything that you want to leave them with as we're getting ready to close next week? I just want to remind you, next week we're going to speak. We're bringing in Coach Mayfield. She's going to be speaking about spiritual spring cleaning. How do we get ready for spring? Spring is coming, and she's going to share about some things that we need to do within our homes to lighten up our homes to get ready for a new season. There's actually things, y'all. There's things that we need to do to remove all the stuff from one season as we go into a new season. So make sure you stay tuned for next week at 9 p.m. But what do you want to leave them with? That was like I did a commercial, y'all. I feel like I just did a commercial.
You did. You did.
I feel so official. I'm like, and next week coming in.
No, so what I'm gonna leave you with this is when you're dealing with financial estate planning, getting your life organized, right? It's emotional. No, most of the time people won't do it because I don't want to plan my death. I don't want to think about this. I don't want to, it's overwhelming. I don't understand it. So you get all these feelings and emotions. And I tell my clients when I go through this, like, we're going to take one day at a time. But we all got to do it once and then be done. But don't get to the point where it's stopping you because you're allowing your feelings and emotions to get in the way. I always say go in prayer. Ask God to give you strength to do it. Because it may be a fear that you've been avoiding. You don't want to face it or deal with it, but you have to. Your future will thank you. Your family will thank you for taking care of you. So later in life, then you don't have to worry or be concerned. So I know it's going to be difficult. I leave with that, but I want you to pray about it. You ask God to give you strength to deal with this. Some of my clients, I have them call me right now. Can you help me with this? I'm an accountability person. So if you feel like you need support doing this, get the support.
Yeah. Reach
Take
out.
the off your chest and stop trying to be superwoman and get the support.
And think about how it helps them, right? So a lot of things that you're doing now, like we all working now for later, right? We all are making sure that we're putting our businesses together for later. We're taking care of our bodies now so we can live longer for later. You want to make sure that you do some of the things, like put aside some of that information in one space so you can help folks just in case your later is whenever. But the good thing is that you're helping. You're helping in that aspect so they don't have to worry. They don't have to be worried about that. They don't have to be concerned about that. And if you don't need it, even better. But if they need it, double better. right? So I want to thank you guys for our time. I want you to let me know, how did this feel? Did this feel good? Because I want to be able to speak money and speak about these things where it still feels good, because we want to have more of these. Bridget has conversations on her Instagram. I believe on Friday she go live. So if you just want to be in that space, I believe on Sunday she also has a time where she also does some more just conversations where you can ask questions, where you can speak about it. Like, just be in it. Let's not run away from it. It's just like our health, just like our spiritual. We go to church, we make sure we pray, the spiritual work that we do in ourselves, the business work we do in ourselves. Please don't forget the financial work that we got to do in ourselves. I may speak sales and I may speak about a lot of other aspects of making sure that we're creating revenue, but please know, my financial life, I also focus on that a lot also. So maybe I don't speak it out loud, and I want to make sure you guys understand that I do work on all the areas. I'm not saying I'm perfect, I'm far from, but it still stays at the core front of what I need to do and what I continue to strive to do as I continue to create a better me. Right? So I love y'all. This was amazing. Good. I'm glad it felt good. Bridget put that she does fourth Sunday, 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern CST. Make sure you follow her, the Financial Lady, on Instagram. I know for sure she's over there. And then grab that link if you want some support with the conversation and or doing it, or doing some of this work, financial work, like self financial work. It's all good. All right. Everyone be blessed. Thank you, Bridget, so much for joining us. We appreciate you. And just thanks for just always being there. I really, really appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right.